Welcome back to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guests, but first let's acknowledge our partners. We Coach and the global community of women in high school sports. These are two great organizations that you should be a part of. Go to wecoachsports.org, and for the global community, go to globalcommunityofwomeninsports.org. Once again, they've got a lot of resources for athletic directors and for coaches, and they're great organizations to be a part of and support. So thanks for helping these two great organizations. Now let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to snapraise.com for their support of the podcast. Go to snapraise.com and see how better fundraising makes better programs. Get away from the fundraising headaches of the past. There's no selling, there's no list management or inventory. And what's most important, SnapRaise works. Our coaches use SnapRaise and it was just fantastic. And you need to remember that choosing the best fundraiser for you and your group is critical, and you can put the SnapRaise digital fundraising difference to work. It's easy, it's safe, and it's effective. Go to snapraise.com and see the thousands and thousands of dollars that they've helped schools just like yours raise using SnapRaise. Change your fundraising game plan and start a fundraiser that works for you. Go to snapraise.com to get started. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in registration, but Final Forms is more than that. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility. They have reminders for parents about policies, about physicals, and all the forms that come with athletics. Final Forms can also help your coaches with things like communication and attendance and even their own certification management. And for athletic directors, Final Forms can help with rosters, can help with eligibility, and with all the forms that come across your desk. You know, it's time that you talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to get started with Final Forms. We also want to thank Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Huddle is how the world sees sports. Over 200,000 teams across 40 sports use Huddle to help their athletes perform better using video and analytics. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but as an athletic director, we were a Huddle school, and you can become one too. Your coaches will be like my coaches. They'll love the mobile accessibility. They'll love the smart cameras. Of course, they'll love the analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle can help any kind of program improve, from club and youth teams all the way through high school, college, and even the pros. Huddle is the complete solution for professional grade analysis with a lot of applications that can go to work for your school and your athletic program. At Huddle, we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 6 million users, including your student athletes, that have found Huddle to be the very best. Go to huddle.com and start using Huddle today. See how Huddle changes the game at huddle.com. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll show you how to set up and sell your tickets online. They'll show you how to scan the attendees that come to your games and collect your revenue. And every step of the way, you'll have a dedicated client success manager providing hands-on support. That's hands-on support every step of the way. Go to huddle.com. They'll also show you how to sell tickets for things like school dances, theater productions, music concerts, even graduation. Go to hometownticketing.com and start selling your tickets digitally. That's hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class marketing content for their school's social media channels. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com, tell them you heard about it on the podcast, and use the podcast code ADPOD10, that's ADPOD10, and get 10% off. Gipper.com will help you create custom branded content for your school's social media channels. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack also connects you with the 95% of the parents and the student athletes who really love your program, and it gives them a voice to help demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com or shoot them an email at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at athleticsurveys.com and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They've got a variety of interactive touchscreen video consoles and an entire library of templates to help recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments. And go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You can also email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com to get started. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's athletic record boards or your school's Hall of Fame, talk to the folks at vitalsignswalloffame.com. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. And we want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. Their indoor scoring tables and video boards not only generate income for your department, but also create the ultimate game day experience for your athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com to see exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com, or go to their website, sidelineinteractive.com. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going back to Nebraska. We haven't been there for a while. And our guest today is Anita James. Anita is the athletic director at Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. We connected on Twitter, and I thought she'd be a good guest for our listeners. So, Anita, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Jake.
Now, we're excited to hear what's going on in the Cornhusker State. As I said, we haven't been back for a while. So we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the Anita James story in about 3 minutes. Take us up to the college years, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and hear about your early career. So what's the Anita James origin story?
All right. Well, I'm a Nebraskan through and through. I grew up in, I have family in Nebraska, lived there when I was younger. Then we moved to Sterling, Colorado. But our Nebraska roots brought us back to Lexington and Nebraska, and that's where I graduated high school. While I was in high school, I participated in sports and was active in a lot of different activities and things like that. And then I moved into college. I went to Nebraska Wesleyan University in Lincoln, Nebraska. Graduated there from with a bachelor's degree in athletic training and physical education. And then that brought me out to Alliance so I could get where I got my first teaching job.
Now, we've had a number of athletic directors, seems recently, that have gone back to the school that they attended to work. And that's got to be a cool experience. I still remember a long time ago when I graduated college, I was working as a substitute, and I came back to my high school to be a substitute teacher. And some of my coaches and teachers, were there, they're just going, "You became a teacher? I can't believe that." So how was that going back to your high school to work?
Well, so I don't know. I might have messed up, Jake. See, I just graduated from Lexington High School, went to Nebraska Wesleyan, and I got my first teaching job here in Alliance. So I actually didn't go back to Lex to teach. I got my first job here in Alliance, Nebraska.
Oh, okay. Well, that's probably my screw up as I was listening. So no worries about that. You also mentioned that you uh, went to college as and were certified as an athletic trainer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I went to I started off with athletic training. Loved the program, but as I was doing it, I kind of thought, I don't know if this is what I want to go into. And teaching sparked my interest because I've always enjoyed working with students. And so that's when I went the route of physical education teacher, and I did continue getting my athletic training degree. So I double majored in athletic training and physical education.
Okay. Yeah, again, going back to my own days. I hate to talk about me, but that degree and it used to be physical education, or you could attach on something. I did health education, which actually opened quite a few doors early on
Sure.
as a teaching
Yeah.
in the classroom. Very cool. Do you find yourself now as an athletic director, having to serve like an emergency role as an athletic trainer? Has that ever come up?
I've taped a few ankles in my lifetime as an athletic director. Yes, because I mean we're fortunate to have some services from our local hospital come in as physical therapy and training services. But if they weren't there, yes, I have stepped in and taped some ankles, put on some band-aids for some cuts and bruises and whatnot. But a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, it's all, one of the many hats that we wear as an
for
athletic
sure.
director. Okay. For our listeners, our guest today is Anita James. She is the director of athletics at Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and hear some more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Snap Raise for their support of the podcast. Go to snapraise.com and check out their fundraising platform. Better fundraising makes better programs, and SnapRaise allows you to get rid of the fundraising headaches of the past. There's no selling, there's no list management, and what's more important, it works. Our coaches use SnapRaise, and it was just fantastic. As an athletic director, I knew what was going on, but I didn't have to be involved. Choosing the best fundraiser for your school is critical, and you can put the SnapRaise digital fundraising difference to work for your program. Like I said, it's easy, it's safe, and it works. Go to snapraise.com and check out the thousands and thousands of dollars that they have helped schools just like yours raise using SnapRaise. Change your fundraising game plan and start a fundraiser that works for you. Go to snapraise.com to get started. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest is Anita James, and she's the athletic director at Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. Anita, we heard a little bit about your, undergrad experience. Take us through those early years. I'm going to guess as a teacher coach, and then talk a little bit about the circumstances that led to you coming over to the other side of the desk as an athletic director. How'd that all work out?
Yeah, I said I got my career started here in Alliance, Nebraska. I was a middle school PE teacher. At our middle school at the time was 5 through 8. It's since now 6 through 8. But taught PE and coached for 10 years. I coached softball. I did middle school volleyball. I did middle school basketball, track. I was involved in that aspect. I think it was probably my third year into teaching, and I said, I want to be a part of something bigger. I want to be able to do more. And that kind of led me into getting my administration degree because, I want to be an administrator. And as an administrator, I want to have the best building, not only in the district, but in the state and so forth. And so I wanted to be a part of that. And so got my degree through the University of Nebraska at Kearney, and an opportunity came around for me to become the middle school AD. So I started out as the middle school activities director. I did that for 3 years, and then another opportunity came around for me, and I was able to step up here to the high school and go on to the other side of the desk, as you said, and be the activities director here for Alliance High. And I've been in this position now for 6 years. So
In those 6 years, and again, you were there previously as the middle school AD too. What are some of the changes that you've seen take place, at your school or even in our profession? How has it grown?
think some of the changes just that I've seen here in Alliance is I feel that our coaches have become more on board with instilling the ethics of Alliance and what it means to be an Alliance Bulldog. We're all on the same page as far as we want our students to be mentally tough and to work hard and show that blue collar mentality, which is kind of like the community of Alliance. We're a big railroad town, and those people work hard, and that's how we want to. Those are the values we want to install in our athletes and our kids too, that aren't necessarily athletes. And so that has helped, and it's been cool to see that change, and it's been cool too to see all staff K-12 jump on board with that mentality, and our kids jump on board with that as well.
Well, I just love that. We're probably going to talk later on the podcast about that idea of toughness, but that's great to see the school and the community, embrace that. And you mentioned, blue collar and, small town, Midwest. Boy, can we throw out any more cliches, but it's true. It's so true. That's so cool. Anything that you can see that you guys do as a department that really helps foster and develop that, maybe starting at the middle school level through high school? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but anything stick out for you?
No, you're good. I preach a lot to my high school coaches that they need to include their middle school coaches and what their program goals are and aspirations, and what they teach at the high school level that needs to trickle down at the middle school level. Even it's the small things as far as being to class on time. That little things lead to big things, and that's been cool to see, and that's been cool to help my coaches develop in their programs, that they need to have that connection with our middle school coaches, because really our programs start at the lower levels, and we need to work on building successful lower levels so that we can be successful at the high school level as well.
Oh gosh, I love it. Connecting the middle school programs with the high school, and your phrase, little things lead to big things. Very, very cool. Great stuff. For listeners, our guest today is Anita James. She's the athletic director at Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. We're going to take another quick break, but we'll be back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. But Final Forms is so much more than that. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility. They've got reminders for parents about policies, about physicals, and all the forms that come when you have an athlete in the house. Final Forms can also help your coaches with things like attendance and communication. It can even help with their own certification management. And for athletic directors, Final Forms can help with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk as an AD. It's time that you talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps and find out what Final Forms can do for you and your program, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to get started with Final Forms. Welcome back to the Educational AD Podcast. Anita, we always like to give our guests the opportunity to give a shout out to the mentors that they've had. And of course, there's, dozens and dozens of people, but who are some of the folks that have helped you along the way that you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, sure. And, I didn't mention this earlier, but it took me a lot to get where I am today. When I got my undergrad, it took me 3 years to get a teaching job. And during that time, that was tough. I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong or why I just couldn't find the right fit. And thankfully to my parents, and my sister, they stuck by me. My parents have always been huge mentors in my life. They taught me to love. They taught me the concept of working hard and not giving up. And I definitely wouldn't be where I am today, obviously, without them. My sister's a huge mentor in my life too. She's been through some things in her life and has gotten through them. So she's definitely taught me adversity. Another person that I look up to is Chris Bailey. He was the AD when I first took over at the middle school level as the middle school activities director. So I learned a lot from him about just having high expectations for students and your coaches, and just following through with things that need to get done as an AD, really. And then I got the chance to work with Chris Bailey when I came up here as the activities director. He was our assistant principal, and he just his heart and his mind is in the right place, and he is now a principal at one of our elementary buildings in our district, and he's doing great things in that building, and he's going to make that building and his teachers and those students successful. So I look up to him a lot, and I try to take what I can from him anytime we have the chance to collaborate or just talk. Um, One of my secretaries, when I first came up here, she was my volleyball coach, and we became good friends as well. She has taught me a lot about adversity and through the things that she's been through in her life. And then, we have a new principal this year. I've only got a chance to work with him for a couple months. His name's Chris Stein, but honestly, I am grateful that he is here. I've learned a lot from him in just those few months that we've worked together. So I'm looking forward to working with him throughout the whole school year and maybe years to come if it works out for us. So those people have had a huge influence, and they have helped me get to where I am today.
Wow, great cross section of people from the past and currently, very cool. And you talked about it took you a while to kind of get going in your career. I mentioned earlier, I was a substitute teacher. I was a sub for 2.5, almost 3 years before that first full-time job came around. I still remember when I graduated from college, this is a long time ago. I sent out 115 letters and resumes, old school. Okay.
Right.
And,
Yeah. Same. I did the same.
and I think I got an actual reply on 1 or 2 of them, but it was just like, goodness gracious, what do I got to do? So, good for you for sticking with it. Yeah.
It's heartbreaking, but too, like, I guess my passion, I never gave up on my passion. There was a time that I'm like, if this isn't going to work out for me, maybe I need to figure something else out until I do get a teaching job. But I think it just speaks to, if you're passionate about it and it's in your heart and in your mind, not to give up and to keep going. And it might take a while to get where you want to be, but that experience alone can definitely help you as you go through life and through your job and whatnot, and deal with different adversities day by day.
Oh no, absolutely. The connections that I made, teachers and principals and coaches during that time I was a substitute teacher, invaluable. And still connected with them today, a long time later. Our guest for our listeners is Anita James. She's the director of athletics at Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. We're going to take another break. I know that's shocking to our regular listeners, but we want to give our sponsors a shout out. We'll be back with some more. Please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We also want to say thanks to Huddle for their support. Remember, Huddle is how the world sees sports. Go to huddle.com and see how over 200,000 teams across 40 sports use Huddle to help their athletes play better using video and analytics. Huddle's the complete performance platform. They've got smart cameras. They've got mobile apps. Of course, there's analytics. And Huddle's also built for every level of play, club up through high school and college, and even the pros are using Huddle to help their athletes perform at the highest level. Huddle has tools to help every team, every coach, and every athlete improve. And if you go to huddle.com, you can find out a complete solution, professional grade analysis, and get it applied to your school, your teams, and your coaches. At Huddle, we believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 6 million users of Huddle products and technology. As an athletic director, I used Huddle for our entire school, and our coaches just loved it. And you'll love it too. Go to huddle.com and find out how your school can become a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Anita, you've been an athletic director now at Alliance for 6 years. Before that, you were the middle school AD. Certainly, you've got a good background in athletics. But we've got some younger ADs, some new ADs that listen. And I think it's important to share the journey that we all take with our state association and the national organization. So, how did you first find out about the Nebraska Association, and kind of share with us where you're at right now with regards to NIAAA?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a big believer in we never stop learning, and we can always get better every day. So when I took over as the high school AD, we are part of the Western Conference out here in the Panhandle, and Dave Hawksworth sent out an email about joining the association, not only at a state level but the national level. And so I'm like, yeah, of course, I'm going to do that. When I was a coach, I was a part of the Nebraska Coaches Association and went to the clinics that they offer in Lincoln, and so I jumped on board right away as far as becoming a member of our state and national association. So I've gone to conference every year. I love going to our fall AD conference in Kearney. It's a great way to collaborate with others ADs throughout the state. It's a great way to go and listen to speakers, and just get different little tidbits that I can bring back to our school and my coaches. While I'm there at our state conference, I also try to take courses because I would like to get my CMA down the road. I'm not sure how long it'll take me to do that, taking one course at a time, but I'm trying. And I've also looked into, I think there's some online offerings as far as from the NIAAA too that I can take. So I might do one of those this spring semester, maybe. We'll see.
Oh no, absolutely. And as a longtime member of the NIAAA certification committee, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't encourage you and our listeners to continue to take those LTI courses, get that CAA, and then for the CMAA, many times people look at those requirements. There's additional coursework, but then they see that project and they go, "Oh no, I don't know what I do." I guarantee you that there's something that you are doing something right now at your school with your kids, with your coaches, with your parents, with facilities, with anything. You're doing something that would make a great CMAA project. And with the new oral presentation option, okay, it's so, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's so rewarding to be able to sit down in a Zoom conference just like this and present your project orally to a couple members of certification. So everybody listening, and you too, Anita, don't forget to continue to work toward that CMAA project. Okay. For our listeners, our guest is Anita James. She's the athletic director at Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. We're going to take another break, but we'll be back with some more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll show you how to set up and sell your tickets online. They'll show you how to scan the attendees that come to your games and how to collect your revenue. That's important. And every step of the way, you're going to have a dedicated client success manager that's providing hands-on support. That's every step of the way, hands-on support. Go to hometownticketing.com. They'll also show you how to set up and sell tickets for things like school dances, theater productions, music concerts, even graduation. Go to hometownticketing.com and start selling your tickets digitally. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Anita, now's the time of the podcast where I'm going to put you on the spot. We always like to try and share some best practices. So what are some things that you do at Alliance? Maybe there are initiatives that you created or things that have been in place for a long time, but what are a couple of best practices that you are particularly proud of at Alliance High School?
Yeah, I'm going to go earlier. You mentioned about getting your degree and going back to your home town to teach. And, our district as a whole is very unique in the fact that I would say probably over half, if not more, of our teachers and staff graduated from Alliance High School. And so, like, to understand that concept, it's tough. And I'm not from Alliance, but at the same time, we have people that are truly invested in their community, and they have came here to give back, and they want to see our school and the district and its students be successful. And that in itself is should be something that we all should be very prideful of. And we try to preach that over and over again, that, you know, our teachers and our staff are invested in the success of this school, not only because more than half of them are originally from here and have come back, but it's just something that we are here for. And that, you know, essentially that is why you do become a teacher or a coach, because you want to give back and make an influence on a student's lives. So that is, you know, whether it's a best practice or what do you want to call it, but investing in our students and our programs and our community is definitely something that that not only I pride myself on and I'm proud about being a AD, but I know that our teachers pride themselves on that as well.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Oh,
No, you go ahead.
yeah, just continuing. I wrote a few things down. You know, I try to teach to our students and our coaches too that we have to have the mentality that we are part of something bigger than ourselves, because essentially we are. We are all here to help each other be successful in school, help each other be successful in the activities that we are a part of. Some of us build foundations in our programs and in our schools that will last for a lifetime and will help those programs be successful. And, you know, I try to preach that anytime I speak, as far as at the beginning of the school year when we have our fall sports meeting with all the parents and the athletes. I will reiterate it in the winter and in the spring when we meet again. Or even if I'm talking to my coaches, that we are part of something bigger than ourselves, and we have to have that mentality, because you know, life can be tough sometimes, not only for our kids, but for us as individuals and as adults. You never know what life is going to throw at you. And so if we have that mentality that we're part of something bigger than ourselves, where we're helping each other be successful in life, I just think that we can all grow and be better people.
Wow, that's so cool. I really appreciate you sharing that. Also, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more, find out how you do things there at Alliance, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Probably through email would be good. Yep. They can email me anytime. I'm terrible with my phone. I have it with me all the time. I monitor my emails. I probably shouldn't, which is probably something we'll touch on later as far as best practices of an AD. But yeah, they can email me anytime. It's anita.james@alliancebulldogs.org.
Anita James, Alliance High School. We're going to take another quick break, but we'll be back with some more. Please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Gipper for their support of the podcast. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class marketing content for their school's social media channels. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com, mention the podcast code ADPOD10, that's ADPOD10, and get 10% off. Start creating custom branded content for your school's social media channels. That's Gipper.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest is Anita James. She's the Director of Athletics at Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. Anita, you mentioned earlier in the podcast, this idea of, helping your kids, kind of embody a spirit of toughness, a blue collar mentality. And that really, really appeals to me. One of our longtime questions is, how can an AD help kids to develop toughness? And I know things have changed a lot since I was in high school 100 years ago, but I think toughness is still important. So how can they do that while also being aware of and sensitive to the very real challenges that a Generation Z kid is going through that I never had to go through back when I was in high school? So how do you do it in Alliance?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, we are really big here on holding our kids accountable. And obviously preaching to them about not giving up and putting them in situations where they have to figure out how to get through things on their own. Also a big preacher about leading by example, and give our students opportunities to learn about others who have faced adversity and made it through. We have to support and encourage our kids as well when they are going through those times, to help, and those tough times, and help them, give them tools to help them get through it. Just a lot about leaning on each other as too. Go to your resources to get you through those tough times. We've implemented a class in our school. It's called 8 to Great. It was developed by M.K. Mueller. And I can honestly tell you this class has helped our kids mentally, emotionally, and socially. And it's changed the climate of our school. It talks a lot about interpersonal work and self-reflection. And I believe those things alone have also helped our kids just develop a tougher mentality as far as whether they're in the classroom or they're on a playing field, or maybe it's something at their job that they are struggling to get through. But yeah, I feel, although sometimes toughness is a continuing thing that we are trying to build within our kids, because yeah, it's a challenge, but we are getting there. And we just got to continue to support our kids and give them the tools to get through those tough times. And if a kid makes it through a tough situation, give them that feedback that says, hey, you made it through this, I'm proud of you. And you see that not giving up helped you get to be more successful.
Well, that program sounds really cool. Is there a website or a way that our listeners can find out more about that?
Yeah, and like I said, it's called 8 to Great, and the website is 8 to Great, the number 8 to great.com. And it started off, our English teacher Roxy Smith heard about the program, and she started to implement it into her classroom, and it has just gone, and it literally has spiraled from there. And now Roxy goes into other school districts, talks about the program, gives examples of some of the work our students have done. Our counselor, Jenny Willard, is becoming certified in it as well. And I can tell you this program had, like I said before, it has changed the climate of our school. Our kids now have the tools to deal with things mentally and emotionally. And it's insane to see the change in our kids that have taken that course throughout even a year or a semester. Like, we had to add more sections of the 8 to Great class for our kids because so many kids were interested in the program.
Wow, that's so cool. I appreciate you sharing. So 8 to Great. Check it out if you want more information. We're going to take another break, but we'll be back with some more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. Their indoor scoring tables and video boards not only create revenue for your department, they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com to see exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. We've got a Sideline Interactive indoor scoring table in our gym, and it's just fantastic. We use it for home games, of course, but we also use it for pep rallies. We use it for signing ceremonies. It's really versatile, and their customer service is just fantastic. That's sidelineinteractive.com. Check it out today. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. They're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school's athletic record boards for all teams, for all sports, or a great way to display your school's Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com, or you can email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com to get started. Their interactive touchscreen video consoles and their templates allow you to recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments, and go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Our guest is Anita James. She's the athletic director at Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. Anita, one of our other longtime questions has to do with this idea of social awareness. And I know that's a big umbrella, but how can an athletic director do a better job for their community in this area of social awareness? Do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, sure. I think just being aware of what's going on. What are some of the issues that are going on, not only in your town possibly, but at a state level and at a national level, and just learning from those things and communicating those things with your coaches and making sure coaches are aware of what's going on, and also too teaching coaches to make sure they are aware of what's going on with their students, building relationships with kids, talking to our kids. A kid's going to work hard for a coach that cares, and just being vigilant on what they're seeing come from our kids or within the school, and talking about those issues or those things that are possibly going on, and being there for each other and making sure that we are setting good examples for others, and not I lost track of my thoughts here. Just being aware, and make sure that we are instilling good values and beliefs in our kids and our coaches, and that we're following through with that too as well.
Yeah, you mentioned in the previous segment, your 8 to Great program. What are some things that you are doing, let's say with your coaches, to help them in this area, to make those connections with kids, with parents, with community members? Anything stick out for you that you'd like to share?
I think you just leading by example, like I said, and just telling our coaches, our kids go through a lot. We have a high rate of poverty here in Alliance. And sometimes new people into our district don't understand that, and they forget to have grace with our kids. And just emphasizing with our coaches that sometimes football or volleyball or basketball isn't the main focus of those kids' lives, because they are trying to make it through a day of school. Some of them go to practice and then they go to work, and or they go to practice and they go home, and they have to help babysit for their siblings. And just preaching to our coaches that they have to be aware of the situation our kids are in, and what our kids are going through sometimes, because it can be tough to see, and it's crazy when you learn about the situation some of our kids are in. It's like, how are they even making it through the day just because of all they have going on in their home? And it's hard to understand, but we have to understand, because we're here for them and we have to help them get through those situations.
Oh, you're so right. You just have to spend that time, getting to know them, creating those relationships. The old cliche, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's a cliche because it's true. And so really appreciate you sharing that. Anita, this has been really cool, getting to know you, hearing about the programs at Alliance, but we're not done yet. We always like to wrap up with the Athletic Director's Toolbox, which is
Okay.
sponsored by Athletic Surveys. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. And when we come back, we're going to find out what Anita James is going to put into her new Athletic Director Toolbox. Please stay with us. We want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director Toolbox segment of our podcast. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. We use surveys at my schools for just about everything, for teachers, for coaches, for kids, and for parents. And the information that came back on these surveys was almost always over the top positive, and it'll be the same for you. But surveys also allow that squeaky wheel parent to vent a little. And sometimes they'll share a small problem that you can address and keep it from turning into a big problem because you didn't know about it, because you didn't do a survey. If If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com and let them show you how to take your athletic program from good to great. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We've been visiting with Anita James from Alliance High School in Alliance, Nebraska. She's been an athletic director for quite a while, but right now I'm going to challenge her to send out a brand new AD on the very first job. But I'm only going to let her put 3 things in that toolbox. Anita, what 3 items are going to go into your athletic director toolbox?
There's a lot that you could probably put into an athletic director toolbox, but I think the first thing is obviously organization is huge. You got to have a planner. I think I probably have 3 planners actually. I've got a planner that I use on my desk that I look at every day, and I've got a year master planner. It's like a marker board, and I've got our whole year out on the marker board, and it's month to month, day by day, and I can see what's going on. Not only does that help me on a day-to-day basis, but when I go to start scheduling for the next year, it's an awesome tool I can look at, and I've got it just to the left of me as I'm looking at my computer. So it's right there. It's a great tool to use. And I think I'm a big believer in we're servant leaders. Or you need to be or try to be a servant leader. So you got to take care of your people. You got to take care of your custodians, your secretaries. You got to take care of your coaches. Obviously, you got to take care of your students, but you got to take care of the bus drivers, the tech people. We use the program Huddle. Our coaches are on it a ton. We just installed the Huddle Focus cameras this year, and our tech people have been tremendous in helping us getting that up and running so that we can not only record our practice, but also do live streaming for our contests. So I try to do my best when it comes time around Christmas time, just to give those people a little something extra, whether it's a gift card to a business here in town, or maybe a little bulldog item. You got to take care of your people, because without those people, your job can be a lot harder. And then huge for me, you got to give yourself some grace. When I was a first year AD, I made mistakes, and at first it was hard to accept that because I'm a perfectionist and I can be hard on myself. But you got to give yourself some grace. This being an activities director is a lot, and it can be overwhelming at times. You can't be afraid to ask for help, and you have to find someone to go to bounce ideas off of or get advice from, and you got to take care of yourself mentally and physically and emotionally, because you work a ton of hours in a week, but and you got to have a break at times, and you got to find an outlet so that your mind isn't so consumed by your job, which can be tough because, like I said, activities directors work a lot of hours. And somebody once said to me, your life doesn't revolve around the Bulldogs. Your life is more than that, and that is true. And so you gotta give yourself some grace to mess up, and you gotta give yourself some time also to ask for a break. I'm lucky. I've got a principal, and there's another assistant principal in our building, and there have been times where I'm just like, you know what, guys, I need a day off, and luckily they have helped me and supported me, or they themselves have said, Anita, you need a day off. We got it. And then you have to allow that, because sometimes I feel that when I do allow that, maybe people will think I'm not doing my job or I don't care. But then I reflect, and it's like, yeah, I do need this break so that I can be at my best, not only for our students, but for my coaches and the others that I work with.
Well, you snuck in a few extra tools there, but as we said, that's totally appropriate. I love the last one. You got to take care of yourself. You can't help others if you're not taking care of yourself. And your very first one, the organization and the planners. I would tell my coaches, there's a whiteboard in the office. There's the websites, yours, mine. But if it's not in my planner, if it's not written in my planner, that game doesn't exist. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
very cool stuff. Once more, if one of our listeners wants to reach out, pick your brain a little bit. And listeners, I think you should. What's the best way they can get a hold of Anita James?
Yeah. Like I said, my email address would probably be the best. I monitor it constantly. So it's anita.james@alliancebulldogs.org.
Okay. Anita James, Athletic Director, Alliance High School, Nebraska. Thanks so much for being on the podcast today, and all the best moving forward.
Yeah, thank you, Jake. I appreciate the opportunity.
It was a lot of fun. For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of these interviews, they all get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Once again, we want to thank you for listening. We also want to give a shout out to our partners, We Coach, and the global community of women in high school sports. Thanks for listening. Come back next time for another episode of the Educational AD Podcast.